What's up, everybody? It's Monday, which of course means it's time for another Toypixx live stream, but tonight it's Labor Day. I haven't seen a whole lot of crazy new stuff. I'm sure it looks like Sci-Fi George is going to keep us plenty in the know of what's going on. So, yeah, we'll check that out. And tonight is just a good old-fashioned AMA. Hit me with any questions you've got, and I'm sure, we can pepper those throughout the chat. And then who knows where you crazy folks will take this chat this fine evening? You know it. You'll make the suggestion. I'll go looking. We'll see what we can find. Labor Day, good times, chill. The only bad part about Labor Day is it's de facto Sunday. So, like, Sunday is always bittersweet. Sunday is still the weekend, but it brings tomorrow, it brings Monday, that kind of thing. Now, Monday this week has taken on Sunday's role. So you couldn't get crazy. None of that. No crazy. But yeah, maybe you did anyway. I've done that. Mistake. Anywho, let's get back to the chat here and check out what the chat's got. And for those of you catching this on the replay, let me know in the comments, what is it you want to know about the old action figure photography and whatever else. I'm going to find this stuff. We're going to start chatting. Tommy, good to see you tonight, man. Thanks. Hope everybody's Labor Day is going well. By the way, yours as well, Tommy. And before started by George can get here, because I know he's very efficient. Let's see. Is the last of the Time Lords is here, and he says that started by George's comments are always correct. All right, we'll take it. I think George seems to be right. Speaking of sci-fi, what's up? Greetings, Time Lord and Temporal Proof Reader. I like to read your post first to know whether I messed up or not. Nice. So much Doctor Who-ness. Maybe one day I'll actually pay attention to the show. Sorry, my bad. All right, Sci-Fi, what do we got? Greetings and toytations, everyone. Everyone is having some type of Labor Day sale today, including McFarlane, Amazon, Nerdzoic, and Balaverse. Quick bit of movie news. Filming has started on Clayface with shots of Matt Hagen bloody and gauzed up like Darkman. There's also rumors of a farmhouse with a swing set for kids belonging to Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter on the set of Avengers. Great googly moogly. Let's see, Thundercracker, Skywarp, Shockwave, Snarl, and Cyclonus, all 86 movie series. It was quickly taken down. Oh, wait. So let's see. I think it skipped something. All right. Those were Walmart listings. I do know that much because I was paying attention. So, Sci-Fi, if that's what you were saying, and by the way, the swing set possibly being Steve and Peggy's kids in Avengers Doomsday, we'll see. Maybe I'll run across the other one. Maybe it skipped. Maybe it went all temporal on us. Who knows what's going on? All 86 movie series. It was quickly taken down. Mythic Legions will be doing a Legends of the Colosseum event. It will be similar to their Knight's Armor event where you got to mix and swap out different pieces and colors amongst various knights. Now you'll be able to do this with your gladiators. Mythic Legions will have a live stream, I believe, on Wednesday, going into the details on this. If you're a Joe Nightforce fan, the Beachhead and Quick Kick 2-pack shipped out today from Walmart. I received mine right before heading to work. Nice, Sci-Fi. Congrats. If you live in Michigan and are near Utica and Hall Road, check out Red and Sarge's Toys and Collectibles. They have tons of new and retro lines, as well as lots of lines, including Four Horsemen, Hasbro, Playmates. I have heard of them. I need to head out and do an actual toy run at some point. NECA, etc. You can easily complete several collections. Very nice. Oh, we have interruptions. Hang on, Sci-Fi. We'll come back to all of you. Let's see. Sci-Fi, that's the bi-weekly rundown for today. Now back to you, Dave. Chatters, let's get ready to be esteemed. Oh, they are esteemed, for they are the esteemed chat. Thanks as always, sir. I appreciate the rundown. Anton, no problem, Sci-Fi. I ran into the master while I was doing that and defeated him. Of course, just, as one does in Doctor Who land. Spaded, oh, you know how it is, rocking and rolling and whatnot. I don't... If I got even that voice kind of correct, I lucked into it because I don't know the reference. Bad nerd. Hola, Mr. Spencer. Good to see you this fine evening, John. Skew. Oh, thank you, dude. Awesome. Even before I'm seeing the people, Skew is on it. Much appreciated, sir. Hope you're enjoying your Monday. Woo. All right. I'm going to keep going. Thank you for recognizing me. It's always appreciated. Anton, you're the man. I love having you in the chat along with everybody else. You guys make this a whole lot of fun. So no worries. Let's see. Is anyone really excited to read this new Spider-Man comic that's coming out based on the animated series? We will finally find out how Spider-Man rescued Mary Jane. I don't know. I saw the cover. I don't care. Like, I watched Spider-Man the animated series, but I didn't like it like I liked X-Men the animated series, which I didn't like nearly as much as Batman the animated series. Spider-Man was way down, and all the other Marvel shows, I watched them, but X-Men was clearly my fave, and the others, they were just there if I didn't have anything else to do on a Saturday morning. Let's see. Ooh, great stuff, eh? John, no time for monthly comics. I pick up the collected editions when I can. Nice, John, nice. I need to figure out, because everybody keeps talking about the Energon universe, I need to figure out the order that I need to read these in. I'm sure I could just look online and somebody's got an order out there, because I'm going to have to start doing that. I'm getting very curious. Skew, Anton, that SHF Cisco thong Marvel versus Capcom is mighty. Even though it can be annoying, it looks like the game's for sure. Q, Dave Cartwheels. I'm just going to keep clicking buttons. It seems safer. Let me just say that Storm Arena Ken was amazing. Comes with a stand, a good one, plus all the rest. So many decisions I have to make. Yep, I keep hearing and I keep seeing, like, I genuinely think that objectively Storm Arena is better. So I do need to dip my toe eventually, but I know me in the rabbit hole. If I dip my toe, I'm going to go after everything. And suddenly, for a property I don't care insane amounts about when it comes to Street Fighter, I'm going to have 2 Street Fighter lines going, and that could be bad. So I don't know. We'll see what I do, but yeah, everything I see about Storm Arena makes them look like they're objectively the better line. You start watching Peacemaker, Dave? Not yet, Skew, not yet. I heard things. What's up, Pixelated? Good to see you tonight, sir. Thanks for stopping in. I think my snake armor is coming soon. Yes, who knows with Hasbro Pulse's time traveling emails. I don't know. So I keep getting things way earlier from Hasbro. Is that what you're talking about, Mr. Manson? Or are their emails just kind of all over the place and they'll alert you to something and then it's a couple months down the road? Let me know. I know that was what was going on with the Rattler. Ghost Tab, what's going on tonight, sir? Good to see everybody. John, you see the new ones on BBTS? Oh, I did not. Not yet, just paid for half my dental work. So, ooh, broke, eh? But I'll take a look. Ooh, dental work is bad juju. Brick! Hi, all, quick hellos, but back to bed. Oh, man, Brick. Ooh, that looks like a sick Brick. We don't like that, man. Get some rest. Hope you start feeling better soon. What's up, Clank? Good to see you this fine evening. I'm good with it, Brick. I'm good. Get some rest, man. Charlie and Dan. Yep. I did see those. That must be what you guys were talking about with the Storm Arena. My apologies. Let's see. It's pre-orders. No worries yet. Sci-fi about that sci-fi joke. I think there was some temporal energy left over. There might have been. Whoo, what is up, Alchemist? Good to see you tonight, man. Thanks for stopping in. Grease. It was a Grease quote. Oh, no. You know what? I thought I kind of knew Grease, but maybe it's best that I don't. I got nothing. Oh, go Grease sliding anyway. Yeah, I'm going to stop now before questions. Let's see. Brusha. Tell me more. I don't remember the Brusha, but I got you on the tell me more. I don't recommend anyone watch Peacemaker. Yeah, I heard that it's a poor follow-up to Superman based on like Superman's mass appeal and then what Peacemaker had going on with the most recent episode. So yeah, I'm a little I was totally on board with James Gunn's DC, and then I heard about that with Peacemaker, and I'm just sitting there going, this is not how you appeal to general audiences, man. What is wrong with you? I got an email, the produce will be delivered 2-3 weeks ago. Well, you know what? The produce probably got old, Mr. Matson. I kid. I know you're talking product. No worries. Hopefully that snake armor shows up soon. Anton, I saw they had action figures for the movie Jaws, and Quinn and Cooper looked actually very cool. I saw those, but I've never seen Jaws. So I didn't really pay very close attention. I'm just going to skip ahead before I get busted horribly for all my bad nerdiness. But I do recommend Terminal List Dark Wolf. Okay, where's that? I mean, which service is it on? Let's see. He likes Tim Meadows. There's that. Tim Meadows is awesome. Even though I'm a Time Lord, I would probably be, let's see, if I lived in the Transformers universe, probably be a Decepticon with honor. You would be a Predacon with honor. You would be like Dinobot, Anton. That's how it would be. See, how does everyone feel in the chat about which allegiance, Autobot or Decepticon? Ooh, it depends on the day. Most days, I mean, Op is the guy. Optimus is the man. Most days, I'm going to go Autobot. Some days, I feel a little Decepticon-ish, though. Sci-Fi, Jada has a Cammy Player 2 pink and gray version available. CT Toys has a knockoff Mafex Daredevil due out in October, I believe. Maybe we're getting some of that temporal shifts. Let's see. Gotcha, Sci-Fi. Thank you for the update. I know I saw the Cammy. The others I did not know about. Saw that too. First episode and trailer for episode 2. The brakes cracked us up. Okay, Terminal List Dark Wolf. Might check that. See, it's adult. It ain't general. Peacemaker. I mean, I know what the rating is, but if you want to bring general audiences into your DC universe, you gotta make things for general audiences. I mean, I get the argument. I do. And I totally, logically, it makes sense. Emotionally, it's going to hurt the brand. Like, it's going to hurt the overall DC brand. See, Clank. I'm Decepticon all the way. I even have the insignia tattooed on my arm. Nice, Clank. Nice. You're so evil. Anton, I'm going to have to take it back in time to my TARDIS and eventually take it back to the 1970s. Ooh, that was a long time ago. I wonder if I'd survive. I'd survive a couple of years anyway. Spaded. It's okay, guys. We're getting another live-action Motu movie where Adam traipses around Earth instead of Eternia. Hollywood knows exactly what we want. I'm hoping that somehow what happens with that, not that, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't go pay to see a Motu movie, but I might check it out on streaming. To be perfectly honest, I'm hoping what they do just for the Motu fans is have maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes are on Earth and the rest of it goes to Eternia. But somehow, I don't think that's going to be how it is. Peacemaker following after Superman is similar to Punisher Warzone following after Spider-Man. It's fair. It's fair. See, Team Sound. Now, I do digs me some Megatron and Soundwave, and we discussed this in the past. I think Starscream's cool, but Megatron, Soundwave, the Decepticons do have some fun stuff going on. I've heard what happened on Peacemaker. It's just crazy. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'll take the DC Gunniverse seriously when I hear something about a Swamp Thing horror movie. See, that would be cool, but you still gotta. It's tough because you gotta keep things. I would think you want to keep things PG-13 because you're trying to bring in as many people as possible. Otherwise, I mean, the comic book movies haven't been doing as well. You could argue whether people are getting sick of comic books or just sick of bad movies. But I would say if you want to get more and more people watching, if you have a chance at it, you need to make it a lot more general audience specific or you're hosed. Let's see, Spaded One, the Swamp Thing DC Universe should have been so good if they hadn't had 4 eps cut. What, or the show? I don't know. Did I even know about that, Mr. Manson? Probably not. That's me. Go me. Pixelated James Gunn needs guardrails. If it's not a well-known character, he just goes into teenage humor. That might, I mean, that might be totally spot on, more than I'm even thinking, man. I couldn't believe, like, when I heard about that, I was just going, no. Like, I was stoked about Superman. That was just a fun popcorn movie, and they got Superman right. So I'm like, okay, now we're gonna start bringing people in. People are stoked about that, and then this happens. This is like everybody loves season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. It's bringing Star Wars back. People are stoked, and then Gina Carano gets fired. Like, it was just this huge shift suddenly that happened, and it's a similar thing here. Hear me out. Sam Raimi directed, rated R Swamp Thing. If it's a straight up, like, Americans are funny. We're strange. We are. If it's just kind of a straight up horror movie that's just a little scarier than, I don't, I don't know, man. I mean, you want to get, if you're going to go R rated on Swamp Thing, I think Swamp Thing has to be further down the line. You got to build trust with the audience first. And then let the audience age up to maybe being able to check out Swamp Thing. I'm not sure though. I mean, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking this whole deal. I just think in my head, my head is always going to brand. That's why I'm like, if you're going to change a character, you can never change it too much. It's got to be very gradual as you're going. You don't want to just change, like, if it's a man, you don't want to make it a woman. If it's, this skin color, you don't want to make it that skin color, only because all that stuff is part of the character, and then later on, if you want to make subtle changes to who the character is, game on. That's why I think of each of these as their own separate, I think of every character as its own separate brand. So my brain just, like, you could take Optimus Prime, right? And Optimus Prime has had a similar look across all iterations, and that still works because we all know who Optimus Prime is, and they didn't change much about who the character was, except in the Bayverse, where they changed who he was and changed his design and all that stuff. So you can make those tweaks, but you just can't totally change things up. And it's the same way with branding with movies. Okay, we just opened with a super fun Superman movie. Now, I don't mind tonal shifts, but now we're going to make something that several of the people that enjoyed the Superman movie can't watch, so they can't keep building their fandom for it. It just doesn't make sense in my head. A hard R-rated movie is very hard to promote. It's hard to promote, and I think it would destroy. Not destroy. I guess it depends on timing. I think it would hurt DC. Made by James Gunn is a warning, not a draw at times. That's seemingly much more true than I thought. I didn't hate any of the Guardians movies. I thought 3 was weaker than the first 2. I know everybody was like, "Oh, 3's so good." I thought it was average. But I thought Superman was pretty good. The Suicide Squad was okay, but I've never seen anything from James Gunn where I thought, oh, I don't know about this guy. I hear about Peacemaker, I'm going, oh, I don't know about this guy. I don't know. Blade was R-rated and a big part of future hero movies. I mean, maybe there's an argument to be made there, but they didn't reference Blade after Blade was gone. It wasn't like Blade was brought up in the X-Men. They didn't talk about Blade in the Spider-Man movies or anything like that. It was almost like it was this standalone thing that wasn't connected to anything else. Maybe that's how they handle it, but then there's a confusion element added. I don't know. We'll see. I would love to be in the room as they're discussing this stuff. Anton, drawing Transformers the movie, I would probably be the one who leads the retreat and gets everybody out of there. I want to say, let's see. You heard the Commander Starscream, get us out of here. Astro Train, get us out of here. Yes, I did. And then I would probably not throw the wounded out, even though it would be against orders. I would say, this is madness. We won't do this. I mean, it was just Astro Train. Astro Train's not up for giving any orders. Very low budget, so it did well enough to make 3 sequels and a TAV series. This TAV. Why don't I know TAV? No worries, but you're right. It was a lower budget flick and all that, so you could get a return. But when we're talking a brand, I don't know, like Marvel, Marvel, since the MCU started, has a brand, and they've deviated from that a little bit. Like, even leading up to Endgame, there were deviations where some of the movies were a little different, but they kind of stayed in this lane. And as boring as that is from a storytelling perspective, it really blew up that brand. And so I feel like DC should basically do the same thing, and to just take a hard swing, then yeah, I just think it's a mistake. But again, I could be way off. I hear you, Sam Raimi. Swamp Things are a movie. I would go see it if Bruce Campbell is Antone Arcane. Huh, I spaded. I have two asks of this DC gun stuff: Green Arrow, Supermax, and a Swamp Thing that feels like the Alan Moore stuff, abstract and Lovecraftian, gothic and gory. Give me it. See, that sounds awesome. I would love to see it. I just don't know. I don't know general public wise. Werewolf by Night is one of the coolest things to come out of the MCU. Comic horror works. See, I thought it was fine, but I didn't think it was that great. And I will say it still wasn't terrifying. It wasn't this hardcore horror kind of deal, really. Like, that would be okay if they did that kind of thing with Swamp Thing. The Guardians films, let's see, Kevin F. at Marvel Studios, who could shape the taste to a more general tone. Yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Is Feige just had enough control where he's like, all right, James, we're not going that far. Dave, anyone that dealt with all the deaths in Transformers 86 can deal with a puny R-rated film. I have no problem with it, and we all have no problem with it. I'm just talking the kids that are starting to get into DC stuff aren't going to be able to watch that hard R-rated film, and I just don't know. I don't know that it adds to the brand. So sometimes you can get a remarkable movie that doesn't serve the brand at all, and in fact hurts the brand. So that's what I'm concerned about. I would love a really cool Swamp Thing movie, but let's be honest, if it's that gory, if it's that hard R, and it's a character most people probably don't know about, it wouldn't do that well at the box office. So if you're going to throw Swamp Thing in there, keep it more for general audiences. That's my only thought when it comes to the brand itself. Because right now, these movies are I think they're going to have to start going with lower budgets, and they're going to need to start making more money. And you don't make more money by really niching down the audience that's already baked in. What's up, Paul? Good to see you this fine evening, sir. Have you enjoyed your Monday? Iron Man, the first MCU movie, and Tony spends 1/3 trying to get girls in bed. Harry, that's a totally... It's the US. It's America. We're very strange, and we don't see anything. And there is a difference there. There are things that are alluded to a little more. But we freak out in this country about hardcore horror. Now, Iron Man would have been totally different if things had been shown. We in this country would have freaked out there as well. We're making logical arguments when the argument is emotional and cultural. And I'm all for logical arguments, but those don't work in this instance, sadly. Werewolf by Night is the #1 Disney Marvel show. Enough said. It was fine. I saw it. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was good enough to go back for a rewatch, but that could just be me. Let's see. I like the Moonlight. The children. Think of the children. That's who they got started feeling to. Oops. Let's see. I like all 3 of the Guardians movies, and I really felt sorry for Rocket. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Rocket stuff in 3 was very cool. I mean, not cool, but it had a good tug. It was a good part of the movie. But the movie, I didn't think felt as good as the first and second one. Skew, thank you, Paul. Thanks for shouting the people out. Always appreciated, man. Spaded, a little sad the MCU never showed us Tony Stark and his eating cheeseburgers off the bathroom floor stage of alcoholism. They should have, you know what, in Iron Man 2, they kind of touched on it a little bit. They should have added that in. That would have been quality. Here's the thing, no one knows any character until you've introduced them in most cases, not counting already published characters. And that's very true, especially like we've been talking Guardians. Nobody, even hardcore comic nerds, didn't know the Guardians of the Galaxy. So you introduce them and you make them awesome. The thing is, at that time, the MCU was riding high. They could do no wrong, so people were willing to gamble on the Guardians. And it just so happened it ended up being a really fun movie. So that's kind of the difference, the context of the whole situation. Right now, I would say, as much as I love Superman, and it seems that Superman did fairly well. I don't know if it was profitable or not, but 600 million overall in global box office. I just don't know that it has built up enough goodwill to get away with introducing a whole new character to the general public. Sci-fi, true, but had no clue the Guardians were. Oh, there we go. Only MCU stuff to really get emotion out of me. Spaded, I had no worries, sir. We are golden. All right. This is much discussing on many things, many topics, talking about all kinds of flicks here. What about, who's got any kind of questions for me? Do we have some kind of photo questions, or do we have questions for the chat? Just general hysterical questions, because it's Labor Day, man. It's kind of a time to chill. It's kind of a time to drink watermelon bubbly. Yay. That live-action Street Fighter movie cast is looking absolutely ridiculous. I heard somebody else got put in recently. What's the most recent casting that happened? I don't remember who it was. I heard the name and I was just, no, wait, it wasn't about that. I think it was displaying model behavior. Dave talks about the fact that it was getting pushed to May, like during blockbuster season. That's the most recent news I've heard about it. It depends on who's writing it. A really good writer can take an unknown character. That's true. That's true. A great writer can make an unknown character cool, but are people going to pay to see the unknown character? And if there's not enough lead in, if there hasn't been enough goodwill built up to watch that movie, does it matter? That's where it gets dicey. Yes, that's the way my cousin felt about Guardians of the Galaxy, but after a while, it became her favorite movie. Yeah, it was good. I loved Guardians. I think most recent I heard was Roman Reigns as Akuma. That's ridiculous. I love it. This is going to be a crazy movie. Let's see, Orville Peck. Let's see, As Vega is a really weird choice. Wait a sec. We're talking Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? I don't remember. Did I say Mortal Kombat when I should have said Street Fighter or vice versa? Go me. This is me asking questions that don't even make sense. That's how I seem to be rolling this fine evening. So here's a crazy guy. I don't know why the Joker was imperative there. But he's a fun desk figure to just have chilling, hanging out. Chilling like a villain, if you will. Spaded, just don't look it up on stream. Don't worry. I will be good. What do we have? You know what? I know something we could try to do. Let us see. I must keep coming up with things to talk about. Pre-order, featured pre-orders list. All right, guys, here's a question. And I know there are many of us that are Star Wars fans, or, you know, whether we're current or fans of Lucas's stuff and all that. What does everybody think about these holiday figures? I think they're hysterical. Like, I actually think these are really funny, but I don't think they're funny enough for me to spend money on. Is that just me? Are you guys thinking the same? Or are you guys thinking, nah, they're kind of just dumb? Obviously, like, if you buy something like this, you're buying it to put it with your Christmas decorations. You're not putting it up with your other figures that you like taking pictures of, because no extra hands. Although the Stormtrooper body is really good, he needs extra hands, man. Come on, Star Wars team. Show me extra hands. Don't watch Creature Commandos either then. It's just gun animated so the blood can be cranked all the way up. See, again, I'm okay with that stuff. I'm just talking about what I think isn't going to be very good for DC in the long term. So I don't mind checking out that kind of thing. I'm totally good with all of it. I just keep putting on the business hat going, I don't know about that choice, you know? The Neutron movie looks pretty interesting. I have not seen, I think I saw the first trailer and it looked all right. It looked kind of interesting, but has there been more stuff since? Because I saw the trailer and it's not really sitting in my head. Lots of people didn't know who J. Jonah Jameson was until Spider-Man. Now the general public loves him. I mean, that's fair. You can't argue that. But everybody knew who Spider-Man was, so they were going to watch a Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man might be the way to introduce all kinds of obscure Marvel characters, actually. And Superman and Batman might be the way to introduce obscure DC characters, kind of like what they did with Superman. I kind of like the holiday figures. I'll pick them up on sale. Nice, John. I wondered, because they are hysterical. Oh, that was the Halloween one, right? Like a gray Wookiee, correct? Let's see. This is R2-D2 in an ugly sweater. Oh, dear. Yeah, got it. Okay, thanks, John. I love the idea of them. I'm glad they exist. I can't pull the trigger, though. I can get a similar effect with tree ornaments. That's fair. Just let everybody know in the chat you can find Phone Nerds anywhere. I was in the supermarket today and it was a guy in a Batman shirt and we nerded out for a good long time. Nice. Guys, we are Legion. They think they can keep us down. However, we are mighty. We are nerdy. Pixelated Anton agreed. The new Tron trailer is amazing. Maybe that's it. Maybe I need to find a new trailer. Reindeer Stormtroopers. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, I think they're a cool idea, but that's something I'm going to be pulling the trigger on. The Bride and Dr. Phosphorus are the MVPs of Creature Commandos. I'm assuming that Creature Commandos is HBO Max as well. I still got to pick that up, but we'll go business decisions to make first before I get too crazy on all the side projects, so to speak. All right, let's get out of here with ye old Stormtrooper. Labor Day sale. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see what we've got here. Let's see. Well, this is more an action figure type channel. Let's click this and see. Ghost Rider 1/12 Collective. This is the second one, the Vengeance Edition, for $200. If anybody needs a Mezco Ghost Rider, $200 for a figure that can't seem to touch the floor from his bike, or maybe even the pedals. I don't know. I've heard things about this Ghost Rider. It makes me sad because we need a ridiculously awesome Ghost Rider in our lives. Let me head back here real quick. Get that Ghost Rider up here. There we go. Then, so Mezco, so we've got the Zack Snyder's Justice League 1/12 Collective for $130. That's a Superman, a Flash, and a Batman. We got here, let's see, Creature Commandos is a harvest, and not because of the monsters, but because of the terrible things that happened to the Fish Girl and a Weasel. Oh no! Well, terrible things can be fun if you're watching them and not having them happen to you. And you're watching them on TV. You don't really want to watch them in real life. Then they're less fun. So we've got Super 7, Wave 7, set of 5 action figures from Turtles. Does anybody, I know that we don't talk Super 7 here much just because they're the scale I don't talk about, but when it comes to the bigger figures, has anybody gotten a figure like this Gorilla or that Triceraton? Just curious, because I gotta say, a giant monkey, that's kind of hilarious. Now we'll get out of this one. I'm trying to see. So we've got, so far, a couple Mezcos. We have a Super 7. We have a Hasbro with the Mandalorian with Beskar armor. $16.24. If you guys are missing a Mando, there you go. Batman, the animated series, the Joker Noir version, 1/6 scale. BBTS exclusive limited edition figure by Mondo for $154. If you guys are into the Mondo things, or you want to try take a Mondo for a test drive, that might be the way. I'm not a big black and white figures fan, or black and slightly light blue, it looks like. Black, gray, blue. I do like the look of it. But again, I mean, you guys have heard me talk ad nauseum about not wanting to go down that 1/6 scale rabbit hole. I was looking at the gorilla, but he was a bit too pricey. I was too, John. I was too. And I think I've told you guys in the past, Wingnut and Screw Loose were the only figures I saw come out of Super 7 that everybody seemed to think were really good. So when that was it and the reviews were so inconsistent, I kind of thought, maybe I won't pull the trigger on this. Anton, okay, Google, whose life would you rather be stuck in if you had to choose? Would you rather be Weasel, or would you rather be the fish girl and you're stuck in that life? Man, considering I don't know anything about what's going on, I will leave that to the chat, and I will also just assume Weasel. I don't know why. Maybe because I feel like I would be a very poor substitute for a fish girl. See what else we got. We have another Hasbro Vintage Collection Arc Trooper, $10.39. Goliath, if anybody wants a figure from a dead line. That's a terrible thing to say, my bad. A lot of Super 7, a lot of Hasbro. Here's a Batman to go with that Joker. That's pretty cool. I am Mondo Batman. Let's see. Ultimates, Wave 5, set of 4. Oh, an Origins Horde Trooper. Man, if I were getting Motu stuff, I would load up on the Evil Horde. Like, at this price, I might say, maybe I need a few of those. Although only 10% off, maybe I'd wait too. Now, I know we've got that brand new lovely Viper out there, but I think this is the only way you're going to get a Cobra Viper officer. So maybe you want to spend $53.99, get 3 Vipers, and really you're just spending it for the officer. And to be honest, gang, I think this is a cooler design for the Viper than the retro one. I wish this is the one that came with all the extra hands. I think this is a good looking figure. And maybe, I wonder if the hands on these are the same as the hands on the retros. Because if they are, I could just load up on these, have some retros, swap some hands with, I know they're not the same because these are black and those are red, but with red gauntlets, you could replace these with the red gloves if they have the same peg. Maybe that's an idea too. But I don't know. That's a pretty decent price for these considering what they were when they first came out. I think they were $90 when they first came out. More G.I. Joe Ultimates from Super 7. Orko and Gwildor from Mattel. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that they've got for sale. On sale. Let's, instead of, let me go back. Oh shoot, I closed it out. Hang on. Okay, let's look at the crazy sales. I wonder. I know. I'm everywhere. All right. Oops. Hang on. Why do I always push the wrong button? Help me, Rhonda. Boom. All right. I think we can. Let's go load a high. Oh. All right. Who needs wow. Master to the Universe, Eternia Minis, Mercenary Tila. Ladies and gentlemen, if you liked Revelation, then you can get this tiny little Tila. I can't even talk about this with a straight face. It worries me to try. Let's see. Oops, I missed one. Sorry, sci-fi. I don't want to be a fish girl. I'll be Polly Shore. All right. Let's see. I was trying to come up with a Polly Shore thing, and I started thinking Jay and Silent Bob. That did not work. Anton, those were some of the lesser known characters from the Ninja Turtles. Sergeant Bananas, I think his name is. That one, that one was Gorilla only because they wanted to do Sergeant Bananas, but there was something weird with the copyright or trademark or something. So we got Gorilla instead of Sergeant Bananas. But yeah, you're right. Definitely lesser known. I did enjoy the arc with the Triceratons when it came to the comics, but that's not exactly a comic Triceraton. John, that Viper 3-pack is pretty good. I have it. Nice. I think I remember you talking about that one. Yeah, that's how you're going to get that Commander Viper, man. Oh, you need a hand check. Hand check. I'm good. Okay, Weasel, you can't talk. You can't use your camera. You can't use a cloth action figure anymore. And you're just a sniveling weasel and you're accused of murder. Well, I think I'd probably still prefer that to being a fish girl. Hand ninjas for 15 could be good builders. There you go. Even though you were trying to save lives. Well, it happens, man. It happens in real life, too. They're interchangeable, but the red hands look totally wrong on the normal Vipers. Ah, that's too bad, John. What about the Commander Viper there? Do they look okay, or are the gauntlets the same colors? So it looks wrong. Let's see. Okay, hold on. I clicked action figures, and we're getting, reaction. That's why they don't look like action figures. Let's see. Sonic the Hedgehog, 2.5-inch Sonic figure for $2.70. I'm looking for something that we'd actually get. Oh, look at this. Okay, I know we're generally 1/12 on here, but if you're into the retro collection, here is an Ahsoka Tano for $3.25. That's not so bad. Let's see. I'm going to keep going. We're going to keep going past all that. Let's see. Classic Sonic figure for $3.84. I'd stop at the Mario stuff, but they just seem like 2.5 inches is just too small for Mario, I think. Retro Black Panther for $4.20. All right, I'm gonna find. It looks like there's actually quite a few vintage collection and retro and all that stuff here. Look at this, the vintage collection Ahsoka Tano for $4.80. Aren't these figures like $15 right now? That's an insane price. I know all guys, you can get your Eternals. Get your Eternals now. Get Fastos or Fastos. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen that one. Get your Eternals. Make it happen. Make it a thing. The hands are too cartoony red and don't work with any of the main line. Ah, that's too bad. All right. Well, thanks, John. At least you kind of saved me money there. Now I just need regular Vipers. Let's see, for $5 is really not bad. Yeah. I mean, if anybody's into this movie stuff from the Eternals, I have to think that's a pretty good price. These came out were the prices still $20 a pop when these came out? Or were they up to 25? I'm thinking 20, but I could be off. Or maybe they were at that funky time where it was like $22, $23. I love going down here and just finding this kind of wackiness. Let's see. I want to find Avatar the Last 8-inch Mego. Nah, we'll keep going. They've got that Kids line, the Kids He-Man or Motu line going on. Origin Sunman. If you guys are big into Motu and you're big into Origin, Sunman for $5.70. I'd say not too bad if you don't have them anyway or already, but I'm assuming everybody that wanted them got them, which is why we're looking at them for $5.70. I know this is riveting as we go through all this. So much fun. Let's see here. What is that? Wait, what? Honor Among Thieves, Golden Archive 4. This looks like it might be a 1/12 scale figure. Hold on, let's see. Yep, 6 inches. All right, so I don't know anything about these. I haven't seen Honor Among Thieves, but if you're a fan and you need this character, $6.50, that's not too shabby. We got Sorceress for $6.65. We got Jitsu for $6.65 again. Let's see. DJ Kanto from The Last Jedi. We all need figures from The Last Jedi, don't we? That was not sarcastic at all, by the way. I would never be sarcastic about Star Wars or Disney's handling of the property. Let's see. This is riveting. Yeah, okay. Let's see how the chat's doing because I'm not seeing a whole ton here. Got the whole set of Eternals from Ollie's. Nicely done, Pixelated. Anton, do they have any new releases of Doctor Who action figures? You know what? Why don't we do that? That counts, Anton. I'm counting that as a question. Let's go see. This is the AMA. We're gonna see if we can find Doctor Who action figures on Big Bad Toy Store. Okay, I just thought Doctor Who. Here we go. Okay, but so I typed Doctor Who, and the very first thing that shows up is Gohan. Trying to figure that out, but maybe I'll figure it out one day. Okay, there are Doctor Who Barbies. Okay, Anton, I don't know which one. Oh, wait, hold on. Ruby Sunday for $62.99. Because I mean, I know there's not a lot of Doctor Who stuff out there, so I assume Barbie figures are on the table. And then the 15th Doctor right here as well, another $62.99. So we do have some Doctor Who. Let's keep going and see if we can find a little more. Role-playing game. We've got a TARDIS. Let's see, snow effect version. Oh, so it looks like it's been snowed on. And then if we get out of here, we've got the 4th Doctor Mega figurine. Yeah, I typed Doctor Who, and the best we got for figures are these 2 Barbie figures, Anton. I was hoping to find more. I really was. Okay. Why don't we look up... Let's get out of this whole sales area here. Why don't we instead look at all the new featured pre-orders? All right, guys. You know me. I don't know anything about wrestling. You want to learn about wrestling figures? Go check out Kyle Peterson's channel. He knows all the wrestling things. I might know a few by sight, and not most of them. Okay, Storm Arena Nash. This is what we were talking about earlier, what you guys were talking about in the chat. Now, what does everybody think? Does he look right? Because I don't know my Street Fighter, what is this, Alpha 3. I don't know Alpha 3 all that well, so I'm assuming he looks pretty perfect. I'm assuming he looks pretty spot on. But let me know what everybody else is thinking when it comes to this guy. I love that they come with stands. I didn't know that they were going to do that. Woo! Boot. Man, I wonder how they package this guy with that accessory. Glasses too. Oh boy. All right, what do we have here? Glasses, the chain, multiple sets of hands, that little swooshing effect, a stand, two heads. This is, wow. Okay, hang on. I want to look at the price of this guy, $29.99. Oh, guys, this is a remarkable deal on this figure. For everything he comes with, that's insane. Yeah, Charlie looks good. Yeah, I'm thinking he looks pretty good. That's incredible. Like I was actually surprised to see his price was still there. Okay, let's see here. We're going to keep finding figures. Figures that are 1/12 scale, not models. I know if I stayed here and I found like 1/12 scale models, we'd be here forever. All right, what do we have here? Figure race, standard common writer. Aha. I'm sure everybody might be kind of sick of talking about this guy, but what do you think? Are you going to go out there and pick up this Spidey? Now, he's obviously photogenic with the poses he can get into, with the good Lord, extra accessories he will be coming with. But again, those hips just, I wish I could see this in person before ordering it up, because sometimes what happens, like oftentimes Mofex images don't look that great. The people don't know how to pose the shoulders, and sometimes the faces don't look quite as good as they do in person. And so I wish I could see this up close to see if that hip area bothered me as much as it does in these pictures. Because right now, it is just, it's an eyesore. It bugs me. Like this could be, like this spin that they have going on here at the thigh, possibly, I mean, it could be maybe higher, maybe even this high, but I don't know. I've never put a figure together or anything like that. I'd want to see what it looks like on the inside here, but most figures would just make a thigh cut right here and make this a solid piece. So it throws me off that they do it this way. But again, he looks like, I mean, those are incredible poses that this Spidey can get into. And I do think it looks to me like he's more posable than the Mofex. And you know I loves me my Mofex. But if we're talking just a great poser for Spidey, I think we're talking this one. Oh boy. Clank, I just picked up the Studio Series Perceptor with Ramhorn and Ratbat. The cassettes are pretty good, and the main reason I got them. Percy's all right. I'm not really a fan of this version. See, I like Ratbat quite a bit. I picked up that one. I actually, when that went up, I pre-ordered them, and now I feel like a sucker because whenever I go to my Target, there's 2 or 3 of them sitting on the shelf. But I think I like Ramhorn. I like Perceptor. I never had another version, like except when I was a kid, like the original Perceptor. So I didn't get burned by having to buy a Perceptor only to have to buy this Perceptor again and then pick up the tapes. Maybe that happened to you. I think it's a pretty good Perceptor, but I think the star of the show for me, honestly, is probably Ratbat. So I need to find more creative ways, fun ways to use him in photos. But yeah, I do think overall it's a really good set. Glad you got them, because you know you're going to need them when they come out with, is it Rewind? Like Blaster still needs an opaque Rewind, right? John, oh, those Macross Valkyries, not 6-inch scale, look good. I'll have to check them out later. Oh, John, if we can't find enough to chat about, we might check them out now. All right, Mr. Matson. Matson. I said Matson as I was reading Anton. Anton, Doctor Who toys and collectibles haven't sold after the 50th anniversary. The companies that were making them backed out of contracts or didn't renew them. Wow. That's rough. No worries, Anton. If we ever see him again, I'll be sure to talk about him in the chat. After Capaldi. Okay. I heard, was Capaldi, okay, so I don't know much. I know I was starting to watch when Matt Smith was the Doctor, because a buddy of mine tried to get me into it. And I don't know if maybe I should have just started from the very beginning of Doctor Who so I could have understood it better. But I got kind of bored with this Matt Smith run. But I hear most people most Doctor Who fans really like the Matt Smith run. So where is it where people started falling off of Doctor Who a little bit? Was it Capaldi or was it later? John, I picked up Maximum Spider-Man and he's going to be my only Spidey unless Mofex makes a modern style one. Got it. Not a bad call. I mean, I think that Maximum Spider-Man poses really well. You know, my only issue would be the ball peg waist. If he had that, I would have picked him up as well. I think he looks pretty good. Let's see. I'll probably buy him. The colors and poses are perfect for Marvel versus Capcom. Yeah, the colors are amazing on this thing. And I mean, I did it again. Why is it when I talk about Spider-Man, I just subconsciously say amazing? Darn you, Stan Lee, and your brilliant wordplay. But yeah, I think he looks pretty incredible. If it weren't for that one area, I would be a fan. I would have pre-ordered him. I don't know, man. The proportions on the Spidey mean he basically only works in an MVC display. I'm wondering if, like, the way that they shoot for Mofex, sometimes things look funky and then I get them in hand and I can mess with shoulders. This is me messing with shoulders right now and make it all look good. I'm wondering if maybe those arms, like the only thing that really looks maybe a little off are how big the arms are. But I'm wondering if you can pull them in and make them look a little thinner that way. You're right. I mean, these are bulkier proportions for Spidey than we usually see, but maybe it'd still work. I don't know. I think he looks good. Here's a question. What is your opinion of parts forming on Transformers and other figs that transform? It depends on how extensive it is. I've heard people, like, I guess it all depends on the circumstance. So I've heard people say that with all the engineering for the Devastator that they're currently working on, I still need Mixmaster, that they should have been able to figure out a way to make it so the 6 Constructicons don't parts form at all, but the original Constructicons did the parts form with, like, just attaching the forearms and the chest plate and all that stuff, you know? So I think in the case of Devastator, if they were to try and make him so that it was just 6 Constructicons that didn't parts form, that would be insanity. Like, they would be huge. There would be a whole lot of panels, and there would be, like, it wouldn't be a very solid figure and all that. So when we're talking about Devastator himself, I don't think parts forming is necessarily a bad idea. I don't know that parts forming in itself bugs me all that much. To be honest, I can see where people that don't like parts forming have kind of done some engineering on some Transformers, and I wish they'd parts formed a little bit, like how Clank brought up Ratbat and Ramhorn in the Perceptor set. I think Ramhorn would have been way better. Let's see. No, it did peg, so somebody learned. But when they did a Laserbeak way back when that I had, and the weapons, like the missiles, folded out of his back, and it was all self-contained, it was a great idea, but it didn't look nearly as good as when you clip on the pieces. So I think it depends on circumstance a little bit. I'm trying to think of one where I just didn't like it. No, I didn't even hate it on the original Omega Supreme. I think as long as we get the desired result both ways, we're doing okay. But I don't know. A lot of people, mileage may vary on that one. Clank, I have the Titans Return Perceptor and never got the original. Let's see, SS86 Percy. It's definitely an upgrade to the Titans Return, but I feel like the previous Studio Series release was better. Okay. Wonder what was it? The main change was that it was translucent plastic, right, in his chest instead of solid? Or was there more? Like, I think they redid the chest, didn't they, Clank? I can't remember exactly what happened with that. It was the original came out before I started getting back into them. Anton, the Spider-Man looks very cool. I probably would not pick him up. Got it, Anton. Got it. Thank you. See, Tennant and Smith were the best. Capaldi had its moments, but after Capaldi, it was pretty unwatchable. They had 50 good years. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Manson. I was just curious. Like, I've heard varying things on Capaldi, and I have heard that after Capaldi, it was just downhill, but I've never really paid much attention to it, so I don't know. I want to know what the general fans think, not what I think, because I have no horse in the race. Spaded, I got my Malfax comic Spidey. I'm good on Spidey until they update that version. That's probably, to sit here and say I probably would have pre-ordered it. I might have, just to compare this one with the Malfax one, but Malfax is definitely, it looks more like Spidey to me. I do think they need to upgrade him, though, and make him a little bit taller. Same with that Venom. Clank, parts forming is not as big a deal on some, as some make it seem. Definitely prefer if they can do it without parts forming, but for some characters and scales, it's just necessary. Yeah, and like the trailers, right? So Optimus Prime with his trailer, what are you going to do with that? Like, do we really want Optimus Prime to fold out and have that whole trailer? Or does he get a pass because when he was originally made, the trailer was separate anyway? I don't know. Or Rodimus, where he's got the trailer attached to the Winnebago kind of deal, right? So I've seen some people where they've turned it into the whole robot and it just looks like a clunky mess. With him, I do prefer the more battle station mode. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Remember, buy more toys, have lots of fun, and buy lots of comics and graphic novels. And most of all, stay safe. You too, Anton. Have a great night, man. Thanks for stopping by this fine evening. What do we have? Oh, great. Googly Moogly. I like the 4th, 5th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors pretty well. Man, if I got into Doctor Who, I would have to look at those. John Fair, I meant more on single figures rather than combiners. Okay, gotcha. I mean, I just threw out the Rodimus example, the Laserbeak example I had. I'm trying to figure, what do I have here? Like, none of what I have really does much parts forming. No, so I don't even know. Like, are you talking things like where, say, the back of Megatron, the cannon that's on the Studio Series 86 one, how you got to pop that off and put it in the turret for the tank, that kind of thing? I mean, for that, I would say that no, I think I'm good with that because I don't know that they could have done it any other way and still had him look like the Megatron in the movie. So I'm sure I could come up with something that I thought, ooh, too bad they couldn't have incorporated that. But usually that's more because I don't want to lose weapons. It's not because I'm a snob like that. I'm a snob in many ways, but I'm okay with a little parts forming, just like I'm okay with Transformers that don't transform. I like the characters, but if I'm going to get a big Transformers collection, I'm going to have to get the ones that transform, and sometimes I'm going to get parts formers with them. And of all the examples I can think of, turns out, I guess I'm okay with that. Ramhorn and Ratbat parts form, but at their scale, it is reasonable. Earthrise Bumblebee parts forming is unnecessary. Did I see? Oh, that's right. Earthrise Bumblebee, he had the top of the car mode was a shield, right? Am I right, Clank? That I could see being annoyed by. But maybe there they didn't have the engineering quite figured out, which I would say is true because the Studio Series 86 doesn't really look like 86 Bumblebee. But, so they did something that they thought would work. I don't know. Spaded, Hasbro should do a Children of the Atom Wave based on the game roster. It's something they could do with just the licenses they already have. Yeah, they could do it, but we'll see. They'd just be more repaints. Maybe they'd make adjustments. I don't know. I mean, that would be cool if people got into it. I think right now everybody's so stoked about MVC, they might not think of Children of the Atom, but Children of the Atom would definitely fall under the Gamerverse banner. John, yeah, that Megatron, but others are worse. The top of Ironhide becomes a shield. The back of Cliffjumper Bumblebee has to come off the car and be put back on the robot. Yeah, I think that's what Clank was talking about. What do we have? Hang on. I've got B right here. And this is what I'm talking about. This is a Studio Series 86 Bumblebee. Hang on, let's hide this real quick. And he's got that backpack going on there, which isn't terrible, to be honest, at this size. So it doesn't bug me. Like, to say that he doesn't look like the 86 Bumblebee, he looks like the 86 Bumblebee, but I can see why before they were trying to figure out what to do with parts that they couldn't just totally fit flush, and they turned it into a shield. Here, they obviously figured it out part of the way. I would say the next Bumblebee will probably be just about perfect. John, I brought it up because those expensive Macross figures are parts formers. Ah, and those are the, whoops, I just shook my whole table and a few figures fell. Those are the ones that Takara Tomi's doing, right? Let's see, the older SS-86 Percy had a clear chest and slightly different colors, but the big change is that the new one completely took away his tank mode. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see liking that first one a lot better because of that, for sure. But Transformers that don't transform are just posers. But they pose so well, Spaded One. They pose so well. If only I had one sitting on the desk right now. I don't. I now only have Bumblebee, and I don't have any non-transforming Transformers behind me either. They're way up there. They're so far away. They're like 10 feet away. Nah, these are Bondi Spirits. Okay, John, okay. Got it. Thank you, sir. Let's see, I haven't seen any Takara Tomy ones yet. I am curious. I love the look of their Diaclone line. Like I have that Gamma Versalter I brought up a couple times. If I could go nuts, the problem with Diaclone Reboot is it is truly an army builder line, and those things are pricey for army builders. And I would want to army build. So I got the one Gamma Versalter. I actually got 4 of them, sold the other 3 because I'm like, no army building this line. That's a bad idea. But Bumblebee is a good example. I have Cliff Jumper, same mold, and I'm not a fan of that parts forming on him. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being the thing. Like I said, I think that the next iteration, they're going to get it right. This one is really close, and it's much better than what you guys are thinking of. What you're talking about now, I can picture the bot. Like, I remember him. He was the one that was the Netflix one, right? Like, he was made during that time. Transformers that don't transform are just Action Monsters, and those are cool. Ooh, you know what? Way back when, I think I had an Action Master, didn't I? Or am I thinking, maybe not. Yes, I had the one yellow. He was yellow and black. He had a silver visor, I think, or maybe a silver faceplate. I think his name was Jackpot. That was the only Action Master I had, and I wasn't sure about it at that time because I was kind of a snob and was thinking, wait, Transformers that don't transform? But I bought him. I still am completely flabbergasted how Transformers fandom completely missed my childhood. Big fan of things before and after Transformers, but it's like Transformers are a Mandela effect for me. Man, yep, I totally am there with you. Like I'm looking back at things that like, you guys talk about. People are so excited about Silverhawks and Thundercats and stuff like that. I remember they were there, but they just, for whatever reason, I just didn't pay attention. Like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Wars. Those were the early stuff. I mean, then Motu was in there too. They just somehow didn't hold my attention. And then we ended up with Turtles and comic characters and all that. But there's a lot that I missed in there. But it is a little crazy, Spaded, because Transformers were basically as big as G.I. Joe. I mean, you would look down one side of a Toys R Us aisle and it's all G.I. Joe. The other side, it's all Transformers. It was insane. And my guess is G.I. Joe probably sold quite a bit more, but Transformers was huge. So it is kind of crazy that you missed them. You need to jump in, man. You need to start watching some Transformers. All of G1 is on the YouTube. Check it out. It kind of, actually, the first season, if you forget a few story elements, like, wait, how did this guy figure this out? I think it holds up. It's less silly than a lot of 80s cartoons. Yo, a bit late. No worries, LBZ. Good to see you this fine evening, man. How's Memorial Day, Labor Day treating you? No, they are pretenders. What did I have there? I had a Starscream and a Grimlock and a Bumblebee. I think I had all those pretenders. There was Starscream, Grimlock, Jazz, and Bumblebee. I think I actually had all of those, but I didn't have the original pretenders. But okay, fine, pixelated. Clank, the only Action Master I have is a Broken Siege Starscream that I customized into Action Master Starscream. See, but that's cool, Clank. That's a fun thing to just mess with. So it broke, and you're like, you know what? I can make this work for me. So that's pretty awesome, man. Very nice work. I need to get to where I can do stuff like that. I've been thinking about, and help me out, guys, if you know much about making dios. But I've been thinking about what all I need to take to this toy show I talked about last time. And one of the things I have to do is I have to create a desert ground for Tatooine dio that I've got, because it's just the back wall and the side panel to hold it up. So now I've got to figure out some kind of ground that people can stand whatever figure they bring to the booth. They want to take a picture of it. Now they've got this in the background. So I don't know if it's going to be foam board. I don't know if I try some paper mache. I got to figure out what exactly to do for that ground. And what's cool about a desert ground is not only does it work with that Tatooine set, but remember, everybody's favorite 80s stuff like G.I. Joe and Transformers had a whole lot of desert action going on. So I could get the monitor and then create this big desert scene with this huge, like, ground area full of desert, like just a desert ground full of desert. Yes, words are eluding me right now, but you know what I'm saying. And then suddenly I have this setup that I can use with Transformers, with G.I. Joe. The monitor can be whatever background I want, as long as it's desert themed. It would be fun. So yeah, if you guys know much about building dios, I know foam core is a lot of what people use, like the pink insulation foam and all that. What other things would you suggest for a desert dio specifically? And I know I said ask me anything. Now I'm asking all of you anything. Ha ha! Take that. How about we jump in until we have some answers? Let's jump in. I'm going to find the next stuff to check out real quick. If there is even any more 112 stuff to check out. It always gets tricky. We have, the Collegiate Legends. 112 scale. Boy. I don't even want to talk about them, but I will. Hang on. Let's jump to those. The only reason I don't want to talk about him is everybody knows the only real collegiate legend is Charles Woodson. Now, this is Harbinger. These are the same people that make Savage Crucible, and they have karate chopping hands for their football players. They have fists. That's necessary, but really you're not doing much with all the pads and the helmet on. You do have the throwing the football hand. That's a good hand to have. Good stuff. I mean, I don't hate. There's no hate here for what they've done. The only hate is we don't have an actual Charles Woodson going on. And I don't know my Alabama, but that's saying Alabama on the back. Did they not secure the license to use this player? Whoever it is, that's going to rub them. That's going to ruffle some feathers. Let me see if maybe that's just an Alabama thing. Is this Ami? He's a collegiate legend. You can tell because collegiate legend. Oh, see, he says Army too. I don't know about these. Spaded one. Desert Dio. Sift out fine sand. Glue the sand down to your surface. Spritz with watered down glue. Wait, done. That's not bad. That's good and quick. I likes it, Spaded one. Waiting for Harbinger to show Oregon so I can turn my little bro on to these footballers. See, yeah. But I don't know. Now I'm starting to question. I'm like, wait, we don't have the names of the players? Pixelated, the hands might be stiff arm hands instead of karate. Yeah, They looked, yeah, if their fingers are spread out a little bit, like I can't see much stiff arming going on when your hands are like that. Like a little more like this to kind of push them back. That could be. I didn't think of stiff arming actually, Pixelated. That's a good call. Spaded, those individual footballers come with more hands than 6 of your average Black Series combined. They come with more extra hands than the entire Black Series combined, Spaded. Let's be honest here. Pixelated, and you can't do the, let's see, Heisman pose without an open hand. That's true. That's true. You are not wrong. But it is kind of crazy that I'm not seeing. Oh, Notre Dame. They're the enemy. We don't like them. LSU's all over. Let's see here. So it must be. Yep, they just didn't get the license to use the players. So I wonder how bad the likenesses are. I kind of like this. Although, I don't know. It seems to me they could maybe save some money by not throwing in the hand that the quarterback wouldn't throw with. Unless this one is somehow ambidextrous. I don't know. Like, I don't hate the idea, but it looks like the execution, based on whatever they had to do when it came to the players in the NCAA, it looks like maybe the execution isn't what most people would probably want. Like, if you're a sports fan, you don't want the back of this to say Tigers. You want the actual player's name on it. That's a shame. So I'm wondering, not only, like, I think McFarland, I saw an interview where he talked about his own Sportspix players, and he said that the problem with them is you have to send, say you make a wave of 6 players that are from different parts of the country or whatever, and you send them out. Well, the one that's closest to wherever you send them out to is the one that's going to sell. And then there's going to be a bunch that don't sell. And so stores aren't likely to order more of them. So this might be the way to go by keeping them online if that's what they're doing. But I don't know that sports fans are going to order them if they're not totally, like, if you can't see, if you don't have the name on the back of the jersey, you know? Hang on, I'm just cycling through. What do we have here? Oh, look at this. Let's see. I don't even know. Oh, midshipman. Never mind. I thought we had an actual name. Lame sauce. Pixelated kids can now get paid. The deal must be with NCAA. That's true. I forgot that they can get paid. Let's see. Is that neat little grass stand included? I don't know. Let's go check that out. It looks like it should be. I mean, it's in there. Let's see here. Navy figure, 8 interchangeable hands, football. So maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't say when I'm looking at the box contents. Here's what we've got. And up here, 112 scale, made of plastic, based on the classic college football teams, part of the Collegiate Legends line, over 30 points of articulation. Box contents. Navy figure, 8 interchangeable hands, football. So at least according to this, no, but it seems weird that it wouldn't when it's so prominently displayed there. My gut is yes, but it says, like, it doesn't mention it, but I'd have to think it would come with it. No upper torso articulation and single jointed elbows. Am I seeing this right? Hang on. Let's see what we got here. I think you are seeing the elbows right. So we're getting, well, maybe not. Hang on here. It does kind of look like, it almost looks like it separates. Okay, so you're getting better than 90 degrees, it looks like anyway. Yep, and you're getting better than 90 degrees because the cut goes so far down the forearm. So yeah, you are looking at single jointed articulation, I think. As far as upper torso swivel, I think you're right. I don't think there's any there. Now, I will say it would be awfully tough to move your upper torso, I would think, with all the pads on, but he does have the ball jointed waist. So I think that excuses a lot. I've said several times when it comes to legends, if they had the ball peg waist and didn't have the diaphragm, I'd be much more likely to pick them up. So I think if you're gonna not have as much articulation on a figure, I think this is an okay piece of articulation to let go of. But I can see others not quite buying that. This is a little less forgivable, though, especially with like a quarterback who's going to be probably not quite as big as the other players in there and who throws the ball quite a bit. You would think, because when you cock back to throw a ball, your arm, and I know some of this, your arm is back quite a ways. So the fact that we're not double jointed on there kind of throws me off a little bit. Nothing about this figure lines up with anything I've seen from Harbinger. Yeah, you're not wrong. And maybe the deal is because they do have, I mean, they have deals with the individual teams. So maybe what Pixelated was talking about is they have the deals with the teams and the teams can license themselves out. But because the NCAA is paying the players are part of the NCAA and whatever, the NCAA is a separate entity that is not jumped on board just yet. So right now they're keeping the articulation a little low because they're already paying royalties to these guys. Maybe the hope is that the NCAA will jump in and they'll be able to make them work with them, even though they're going to have crazy royalties. And so they've kept the parts count low. I don't know, though. That would be my guess just from a business perspective, but I could be off. I don't, as much as I would love to know, I don't know how much these things cost to make. Spaded, yeah, that looks double jointed. False alarm. It did, and then you looked at the forearm and it looked like it was cut here and no cut there. So I'm so thrown right now. The chest protector is built, let's see, is built-in excuse to hide that torso articulation. Boom, see? This is how things work. But yeah, I think my guess is they're keeping the articulation a little less just because they have to pay a little more when it comes to royalties. But now I'm curious. I want to find this. It does look double jointed there, but those joints are pretty seamless when you look at the back of the arm. Like, look at that. It looks like it's right in the middle. That's pretty crazy. That's a great job. Ah, wait, we look over here. Okay, there we go. We can see the joint right there. Which means we gotta, yep. And then here you see it above there. Yep, okay, we do have double joints. Game on. I still wish they bent a little more, though. Unless we're not seeing the whole picture. All right. There's the football players. They're going to want to get that NCAA deal, though. Hopefully they're able to pull it off. Now, let's keep going. These are craziness. Okay, that Captain Hook kind of looks cool. So does Peter Pan. But those are statues, so we're going to keep going. There really is not a lot of action figures that have been announced all that recently. I think those are all models. Oh, here we go. How did I not think to talk about these guys? We've got Die Hard from Youngblood. All right. I still haven't picked up any loose collector figures, and Youngblood doesn't inspire me to pick up any, but they do look ripped straight out of the book. And I know there's jokes out there about, yeah, but they have feet. I get that. I do get that. Somebody had to make that up from design art that somebody else drew, I'm sure. I kid. As much crap as Liefeld gets, the man killed it, and people loved his book. I believe X-Force #1 might be the second or third highest selling book of all time. So people can give Liefeld all the crap they want. He did a heck of a job for Marvel, for sure. Even if a lot of people are disliking his take on things these days. I do kind of like the look of Shaft here. I think he's got a good look to him. Not enough for me to decide to go out and pick one up. But you can't argue that Loose Collector's doing a heck of a job on these things. For $85 though, so you kind of have to love Youngblood to pick these up. Or just buy all the figures because you have all the money. And I started with Wildcats, didn't stick with it, and I love Jim Lee's stuff. Who remembers a comic Jim Lee did called Death Blow, where Jim Lee, he tried changing his art style a bit, and I loved it. It was almost a cross between Lee's work and Frank Miller's work, and it just had a really cool look to it. And he tried it on Death Blow, and I never saw him do it again. It made me sad. I would totally go nuts for some Death Blow action figures just based on that artwork alone. But yeah, I think these look great. I'm just not that big of a Youngblood fan. Spaded, I really like this idea though. Hope this is successful enough to keep going. I do too. I just don't see sports fans want things that look like they want their sports represented accurately. And right now, those look like, because they don't have all the logos and all the names and all that stuff going on, they look like they're not made by a premier toy company. And that's not taking anything away from Harbinger. I'm sure those are going to be great figures. But when you're just looking at them, they don't have that authentic look. They have kind of that knockoff look because they don't have all those labels and the right names and all that stuff going on. So my real sincere hope here is that they get the NCAA on board and make it happen. Pepsi Man, that is kind of what he looks like. Good call. Oh, those have ball joint at the waist, Toypixx. They look really good. I might get one. They do look pretty good, Kyrus. Like I said, man, I don't begrudge anybody going for these. I think these are some great looking action figures. I just wasn't into Youngblood enough, and I'm not sure they're so, like Jada, I think they do great work, right? So I just pick up the Jada things because their stuff is incredible, but their stuff is also $25 to $30 instead of $85. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Whoops, couple jump there. They're probably fine, but they're clearly Cable and Shatterstar. That's fair. I don't disagree. Liefeld is not a great artist, but far from the worst Marvel had. This is true too. And he came in at the right time where people loved his style. And I think that was it. You know, he had enough talent to make a splash, and people loved the style enough where had he shown up maybe 5 or 10 years later, I don't think he would have been as successful as he was. But it was just perfect timing for what he had to offer. I'm just not sure where the thought of Youngblood action figures came from. It wasn't even a good comic, never went anywhere. See, and that's what like I said, I picked up Wildcats. You could tell, when I look back on it, you could tell Image was founded by artists and not writers. Like, I love the look of anything Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane touched. I even liked a lot of what Liefeld did. But overall, the stories just weren't that compelling for any of them. Spaded, Liefeld, I designed a character named after me, Shaft, and made him a blonde white guy with a bow and arrow, and dressed him in the Canadian Olympic figure skater's outfit. Did you guys hear? I'm sure you did. I think it was this the commercial on that was before the weekly rewind this past weekend where Robo talks about all the figure news, and he will put up like a video of something beforehand, or maybe put it in during the rewind. But you saw Liefeld talking about these figures. He gave off some crazy McFarlane energy. Like, it was hilarious. It was hysterical. You got to check it out. Not because what he was saying was funny, but it just reminded me of McFarlane presenting his stuff. John Liefeld has to have that IP, and he's a good salesman for his brand. It's true. It is very true. Named after Shaft. What? Got to buy those Levi 501 jeans. Nice pull, Pixelated. Still the only comic book artist to sell blue jeans. Yep. Image was a great idea, but only about half the titles went anywhere, but all for the idea of a company for creators to own their own IPs. And it was a great idea. Like, I love the art on all those books. I do wish that the writing had been better. Like, I wish they had brought over some writers as well as some artists. But that just didn't happen. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8:30. So I would say it is time to go. Hopefully everybody is enjoying their Labor Day. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this fine chat, this fine evening. So you know the drill, man. You guys could have done anything tonight, especially considering it's Labor Day, and you chose to hang out here with all of us, and I thank you immensely. So until next time, have fun. Happy snapping. See ya. This is where I'm going to hit end stream the second time, and it's going to get crazy. Here we go.